Yo mama's so fat she put her iPhone in her back pocket and Siri said, I can't breathe. Now that I have the fat people hating me and the black people hating me, we have found bottom. And if you've made it through that joke, you could probably make it through this video. There is something called FatCon, and it's essentially a convention for fat people to try foods and encourage each other to continue to be fat. And I think that this thing needs to be labeled as a terrorist organization. The people who are involved in it need to be put in cages because they are a threat to themselves and to public safety. Because it's one thing to be fat. Everybody got their demons that they got to fight. But it's a whole nother thing to stay fat. And then one level forward, it's another thing to stay fat and say that it's healthy to stay fat. This video is called Why Are We Enabling This? And this is by Think Before You Sleep.
Announcement time.
Damn.
Ready? I don't think you're ready.
I'm not ready.
Get ready.
No.
All right, y'all. Your girl Jay is officially going to FatCon 2025.
Damn.
That's right. Seattle, Washington, I'm coming for you.
You got to put your phone in landscape mode just to get her in the picture. She's built like a damn hacky sack. Like, this is insane. This is unhealthy for you. Nobody should strive to be in this position.
Okay. Who are you? I like the added touch of her not being able to set down the 200-calorie drink to tell people that she's going to an obesity convention. But now I'm interested. Let's hear about FatCon.
So for those wondering what FatCon is, well, it's literally what it sounds like. It's a fat liberation convention taking place in Seattle, Washington. FatCon has so much to offer, like tons of programming and keynote speakers and movement classes and literally like everything you could possibly dream of.
Except for nutrition classes.
Right.
I noticed how we got the exercise classes in there because walking like 10 steps and doing some chair yoga is not that hard. But we forgot really the only education that matters for them, which is learning how to eat less. Conveniently, the convention has everything but that.
Oh my gosh, workshops on parkour? Where your big ass going? Sex, water sports, powerlifting? You don't need to go to FatCon in order to learn how to lose weight. Just go to your local gym. Walk 10,000 steps a day if you can. Find out how many calories you should be eating a day according to your weight and height and eat 500 less than that. Walk 10,000 steps a day. You'll feel much better. You'll start burning off the weight. You don't have to go all the way to FatCon in order to learn how to lose weight. Eat less, move more, eat less. All you got to do is move more, eat less. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's so simple that if you do it, you're damn near guaranteed to lose weight. I'm not saying it has everything to do with what you eat, but I'm just saying I've never seen a fat person at Auschwitz. It's not even only about the length of your life. It's also about the quality of your life. An extra day with your grandkids. Those things matter.
As far as I can see. Let's get more into it, but first, let me tell you about this video's sponsor, Raycon.
We're going to let it play.
It's been a few months since I did my first Raycon ad spot, and now that I've had more time to use the everyday earbuds, I have to say that I really like these things.
Get your money, man.
The people at Raycon seem to have a great understanding of what features their customers want. For example, my favorite feature is the ability to pair my earbuds with two different devices simultaneously. So if I want to be connected to my laptop and my phone at the same time, I can do that. Raycon Everyday Earbuds also come with active noise cancellation, an 8-hour battery life on a single charge, and a 32-hour battery life if you let them recharge in the case, so basically these things never run out of battery. And in the off chance that you forget to charge them, Raycons have a quick charge function that will give you 90 minutes of battery on a 10-minute charge, which is plenty of power to get you through something like a workout. Speaking of working out, my second favorite thing about these earbuds is that they fit really well into the ear and do not fall out. So,
Think Before You Sleep looks exactly how he sounds. If that's him, he looks exactly how he sounds.
If you want to check out Raycon's everyday earbuds, then go to buyraycon.com/TBYS to get 20% off. That's buyraycon.com/TBYS or click on the first link in the description.
Okay, back to the action.
All right, welcome to FatCon, the biggest fat convention on the West Coast. FatCon has been going on for 2 years now, and it takes place in Seattle, Washington. At the convention, you can hear a talk from one of the excellent guests. You can meet a real-life mermaid. You can tape a paper to a door that says slut. You can eat ice cream.
When Postmates delivers 6 times the amount of ice cream you ordered, you have no choice but to share.
This is exploitation. And I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually sponsored by Haagen-Dazs, because now there's a bunch of information that's been coming out that the snack cartels are the ones that were funding the body positivity movement. They were sponsoring these body positivity activists to travel and do all these speeches talking about body positivity. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was sponsored by Haagen-Dazs.
You, my fellow fatties, would appreciate some gourmet ice cream.
Which is exploitation.
And they sure did.
That sounds like a real time and a half. What a memory. And of course, don't forget the fashion shows because there's a lot of fashion at this convention. But most importantly, FatCon is all about bringing people together in larger bodies to spread fat joy.
Fat joy to me is letting go of shame and allowing myself to feel good in the body that I have. I am glorifying obesity every day, and that is my fat joy.
Yeah, you're not talking about shame. You're talking about guilt. Shame is external. Guilt is internal. And don't blame me because you know your big ass wasn't supposed to eat that last piece of cake. What you're feeling is guilt. You feel bad because you can't stick to your diet. It's not shame. In fact, I think there should probably be some more shame. It's not an issue if you are fat and you understand that it's not good and you're trying to lose weight and you continue to fail and then you keep trying as long as you stay in the fight. Everybody got their fight. But once you just give up and you start promoting that it's healthy, you need to be bullied because you're leading people down a dark path. If you don't want to feel guilty and have it on your conscience, put the cake down. It's that simple.
This woman talk like she owns more than 5 cats. I mean, I'm getting the vibes of someone who not only glorifies obesity, but also cheerfully says the term fur babies a lot.
Fat joy, in all of its expressions, is a rebellion. Parts of our culture tell us that we're only allowed to be fat as long as we're trying to get thin.
A rebellion.
Or as long as we're healthy and completely able.
That's not a rebellion. That's called giving up. You find joy in not being healthy and not being completely able? Anyway, FatCon's goal is not just to bring people together to spread fat joy. It feels like its true motive is on the website here, where it says, "Our mission is to improve the lives of fat humans through art, health, and public policy. We don't seek acceptance, we seek fat liberation." What the hell is fat liberation? Fat liberation aims to reclaim power over fat bodies and lives so that folks can live free from discrimination and persecution. Oh, so you're like oppressed because you eat too much pizza.
If you live in a country that's so abundant that you can be obese, you're not oppressed.
For those of you who don't know NAFA, NAFA is the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. We want to build a movement where 100 million Americans have a political identity as fat.
What this person who is still
Political
pointlessly
identity.
wearing a mask in 2025 is saying is that instead of actually fixing their life problems, they're going to try to bully the government into giving them special protections, as if they were like confined to a wheelchair from a spinal injury, or if they were people with real disabilities that aren't self-inflicted.
Exactly, and that's who body positivity is for. It's for people who have disabilities, not people who have eaten themselves into having disabilities.
That's what this convention seems to be mostly about, and this kind of ideology has been quite an annoying trend of the radical left. I have this self-inflicted problem, and instead of fixing it, I demand that everyone cater to me.
I'm dedicating 2025 to fighting for the Fat Equality Bill of Rights, and I want you to be part of this revolution.
That was the girl from the start, and she has eaten herself into having such severe breathing problems that she has to use an assisted breathing device for most of the day.
And all of those liberals, all the people on the left, and I don't want to make this too political, who say they are for this, call them fat and see how they respond. If they love body positivity so much, and if big is beautiful and all these other things they try to promote, call them fat and see how they respond. And then you'll really test their logic. Because there's a lot of women who say trans women are real women, but if you tell them they look like they trans, they going to get offended. Tell a skinny woman she's fat if she's for the body positivity movement and see how much she actually likes it.
As a young person,
fat individuals face barriers that nobody should have to live with. Whether it's being turned away from a doctor's office, not fitting into seats on public transportation, or being unfairly judged in the workplace. These aren't just inconveniences.
She built like a damn hockey puck.
They're human rights violations.
Okay, it's a human rights violation if you can't fit into a chair at a restaurant. Maybe she can sue them like that girl sued Lyft because she was too obese to fit into a car.
Just like the civil rights movements that have reshaped history, we're fighting for a world where fat people are treated with fairness, not just tolerance. This is about the right to exist without fear of discrimination, exclusion, or ridicule.
You are being treated fairly. You get the same size chair as everyone else. It's equal. What you're asking for is called privilege.
Let's push for the Fat Equality Bill of Rights to become a law, because your body deserves justice. We deserve justice. So join me. Head to change.org/fatequality and let's make 2025 a year we change everything.
Okay, I have to see this. Let's go take a look at the Fat Bill of Rights. She starts out by saying, "We have been treated as less than or invisible." I assure you, Jay, that both of those things are not possible. Then she goes on about how she is mad that she has to pay more for airline seats. Let's get to her demands. Number 3, all individuals must receive healthcare in environments equipped with size-inclusive equipment such as wider MRI machines, appropriately calibrated scales, and larger hospital gowns. Got it. So she wants hospitals to spend millions of dollars on new machines so she doesn't have to go to the zoo to weigh herself.
Wow.
Number 4, employers must provide accommodations such as ergonomic seating and appropriately sized uniforms. Number 5, all individuals, regardless of body size, have the right to comfortable and accessible seating in all public spaces. Geez, how many of these rights have to do with this woman being too fat to sit down in a regular chair?
What's heaven like? Oh, it's fine. There's a shortage of chairs. Oh.
8 of them. 8 out of 10 of these rights have to do with sitting down.
Damn.
You can't make this shit up. This actually seems to be a strong concern from the body positivity movement, as multiple people involved with FatCon have expressed their concern about being too big to sit down.
What does fat joy mean to me? It means being able to go to a restaurant or a show or anywhere and not have to worry about squeezing into a seat.
I mean, I can think of one way that you wouldn't have that problem. You could just lose the weight.
Right.
But no, you can't do that. We must think of every ridiculous excuse and cope to remove responsibility over our own lives.
Exactly.
Black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower. The racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
Oh my gosh, she is getting absolutely sodomized by this seat. She probably weighs about 380. If Floyd Mayweather ate Floyd Mayweather, he would still need to be 100 pounds heavier to meet her to where she is. She's 100 pounds heavier than if Floyd Mayweather ate Floyd Mayweather. That's insane.
Means the diet don't work for you the same.
Right. I'm sure that's how the science works. Racism is why you can't lose weight. But going back to the people at FatCon, it is astonishing how much they will try to separate themselves from being the cause of their problems with the language that they use.
I went to REI looking for a life jacket, and I was super budget restricted. I was super broke at that point in my life.
Budget restricted? These people and their euphemisms. 5 syllables to replace a 1-syllable word.
Yeah, you definitely
I saw a
broke.
bunch of life jackets that would fit my budget, but not my body. So when I talked to a sales rep, he basically confirmed that. Like, there was one life jacket that would maybe fit my body, and it was about 3 times more than my budget.
Yeah, you need a raft.
So I basically told him, well, nothing works for me here because I don't have that money in my bank account, and none of the other ones fit my body. And as I was leaving, he basically yelled at me, "You're never going to find anything that fits your body for that price."
Pay attention to the wording. She doesn't say, "This life jacket won't fit me." Instead, she says multiple times, "This life jacket won't fit my body," as if her body is separate from who she is.
Right.
As if her decisions didn't lead her to being that size.
Exactly.
It's not my choices, it's just the way my body is. I point this out because this is a consistent thing that fat activists do. They say things like, "I'm living in a bigger body," to remove agency over their life.
Exactly. At some point, you just got to look in the mirror and say, I've just had enough. I don't like what I see. And you have to be honest about that. Everybody faces this, even me. I fluctuate in my weight. I go up, I go down. I'm one of those types of guys where if I look at a calorie, I gain 2 pounds. If I even so much as smell a cookie, I'll gain 3 pounds. So I'm one of those guys that got to be really careful with what I eat. Like, I know it's easy for me to gain weight and it's hard for me to lose weight. So I try to make sure that I stay within a range so that I don't go too far away, because if you go too far away, it becomes harder to lose the weight. But to get that started, you have to look at yourself and say, I don't like what I see. You have to be honest about that. Being in denial doesn't help your situation, and encouraging other people to be in denial just makes the world a worse place.
You don't live in a bigger body. You have an addiction that you're not willing to correct, and you ate your way into being obese.
Later that day, I tweeted about the incident, and all this hate came in the responses. And one thing that really stands out to me is just the idea that was being communicated, that fat people don't belong in the outdoors because they're going to get injured, they're going to die, they're expensive to rescue, and that's taxpayer. The industry is the problem. The social barriers, the industrial barriers, the systemic barriers are the problem, not my body.
You know, probably one of the most entitled things you can do is create a problem for yourself and then call the consequences of your bad choices persecution and discrimination.
Right, but she does have a small point when she says it's systematic, because there are literally companies, food companies, that hire scientists to make their food addictive so that it makes you keep wanting to come back for more. Of course, it's still your choice, but I don't think it's good for our government to allow companies to essentially poison us by making our food addictive. 75% of the FDA's funding comes from the pharmaceutical companies that they're supposed to be looking over. So they're making the food addictive, and then they're selling us the cures instead of just not making the food addictive. There are a lot of people who call themselves experts who give advice on this type of stuff, and really they're funded by snack companies. So to some degree, we have been sold out, but if there's one thing that you're in control of in your entire life, it's what you put in your mouth.
Because there's this underlying implication that it's wrong for them to charge her more money for a bigger life jacket, despite the fact that it costs more materials to make, it takes up more space in the store, is less sellable than a standard size because not as many people need it, so having it take up shelf space at the store costs them money.
Right.
And the larger capacity might have required more advanced design or engineering. She's offended that a bigger thing costs more. And I guarantee you that's what she's saying, because it's something that's commonly said by the fat acceptance crowd. Well, I'm budget restricted, so I shouldn't have to pay more for clothes. Really? Because you weren't budget restricted when it came to food.
Right.
Do you know how expensive it is to be obese?
All the other countries that wonder and say that Americans are just fat and lazy and they don't do anything to better themselves. This is what $115 gets you.
She's shopping in the middle.
My kids for.
She's shopping in the middle where all the snacks are. When you go in the grocery store, never shop in the middle. Always shop on the outside where you see eggs, milk, cheese, protein. The outside is where all the good stuff is. All this bullshit is all on the inside aisles, and that's what you got to be careful of. There's not a single productive calorie in everything that she's showing right now.
Less than a week, and this doesn't include any dinners. There are no dinners here. This is lunch and snacks. I don't know how people are making it. It's hard out there.
I'm actually shocked because I still live in a fantasy land in my head where people don't buy these items. I mean, sure, if you're at a party or if it's like a cheat day, go ahead and reach for the Takis, but chips, soda, ice cream, and donuts for daily consumption? People do that? Now, the narrative point of her video is a little confusing because you would think that food being expensive would make it harder for her to be overweight, but I can see why she's that size.
To be fair, though, there was a recent consumer report from 2025 that says the snack companies, I always call them snack cartels, snack companies are having a hard time selling snacks. So, American people, I am proud of you guys for not contributing to the pussification of humanity, and keep your foot on their fucking necks until they all go bankrupt for trying to poison us.
Thin people don't eat like this. And it's the same with the strawberry lemonade that girl had earlier. You know, the one who wrote the change.org petition. Thin people don't drink calories. That's fat people behavior.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
these
This is
people
black
will drink
coffee.
an entire meal's worth of calories multiple times a day and wonder why they can't lose weight.
What do you drink in the morning?
Chocolate milk, juice, sometimes
Chocolate
soda.
milk and juice.
Yeah.
Those are high-calorie drinks.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is all about. They're only mad because they can't lose weight, and they're using fat acceptance as a cope. I mean, just look how quickly Lizzo changed her tune when she started losing weight.
You look good, queen. Hold on, let me show the fit then. Let me give you the fit details, because you already know. You already know I'm in that yitty. You already know I'm in that motherfucking yitty, ho. I'm in that yitty,
Lizzo.
bitch.
Eloquently said. But this is strange because I have this article here saying that you like being fat. It's so strange that the minute Ozempic gets popularized for weight loss, Lizzo starts dumping weight.
Of course.
What happened to, I have a really hot body. I'm a body icon. Interesting how that narrative is gone the minute that the medical industry gets effective weight loss drugs.
Ozempic and the body condition of most of the people at the Golden Globes shows that the fat acceptance movement was all a scam. The moment that you had an easy route out of being overweight, body positivity went out of the window.
That's so true, because they're such hypocrites. They're such pieces of shit.
Now, the ones who are not trying to manage their weight are becoming so radical that they are now just saying the quiet part out loud. For context, this image is censored because she's naked, which probably violates Instagram's community guidelines. But anyway, the post says, if you think body positivity is all about helping thin folks, find another opportunity to celebrate their bodies. Thank you for admitting to that. I mean, we all pretty much expected that body positivity had nothing to do with people who have real problems.
The reason why thin people are seen with admiration, especially if you're thin with muscles, is because we're in a time of abundance. When we weren't in a time of abundance, it was seen as a status symbol to be obese. And this all comes with the line, of course. If you're anorexic, people will still look at you like that's unhealthy. In the same way, if you're too muscular, if you look like a bodybuilder, women will be turned off by it because you'll be seen as unhealthy. And for the most part, they'll be right about you being unhealthy, because a lot of times bodybuilders have to do a lot of unhealthy stuff to maintain that image and that physique. And if you're a man, all you need is a little V-shaped taper, maybe a little athletic build. You don't got to be cartoonish. You don't got to look like Johnny Bravo.
Contrary to what the media has been gaslighting us about for years, it's always been about obese people. And probably one of the more disturbing parts of FatCon is this here.
Welcome to day one of FatCon 2025. We're so excited to have so many amazing guest speakers, keynote speakers, workshops, panels, you name it, from fat liberation parenting.
What exactly is fat liberation parenting? Are you telling kids that it's okay to be obese? Well, let's just go to the website. Here we can see a picture of two whales, which, considering the context, was probably not the best choice for a stock image. But the description says that fat liberation is a practice. It's raising resilient kids in a fat-phobic world. It's fighting anti-fat bias and oppression. And how exactly are you doing that? Again, are you telling kids that it's okay to be obese? Because that seems to be the general narrative of FatCon.
Yes, child obesity is insane right now. We cannot afford for people to be pushing this message. And as a person, especially as a man, as the leader of a house, like if you're the man that's a leader of the house, you are the example, and you have a duty to be strong. You have a duty to lead by example. And if you want your wife to lose weight, the best thing you could do is lose weight yourself. If you want your kids to be thin or to be fit, the best thing you could do is exercise yourself as the leader of the household. People will look up to you, and that is your duty. And parents who work out tend to have kids who work out, and parents who are obese tend to have kids who are obese. And I don't think that's by accident. I think it's because kids are inspired by their parents to take on a certain lifestyle.
Lower down it says, fat phobia and diet culture bombards parents with the harmful message that the worst outcome for ourselves and our kids is to be fat. Then next to it is a picture of a child who's thin. Again, who's picking these stock images? I thought we were trying to get rid of weight stigma. Last, it says that weight isn't connected to health, and it's suggesting that doctors' recommendations about obesity are wrong. So they are saying that childhood obesity is okay. Yet again, radical leftists feel no problem thrusting their harmful ideology onto children. Stuff like this is why people on the moderate left who don't have insane and unscientific beliefs are fleeing the party. Anyway, the founder of Fat Liberation Parenting goes on to describe herself as mid-fat when she really means obese. But more importantly, the big problem that I have with the stuff around children is that if you don't teach children healthy habits when they're young, then the odds of them becoming morbidly obese adults skyrockets.
Yes.
And I bring this up because recently I've been binging My 600-Pound Life, and if you watch that show, then right away it becomes very apparent that the weight is a huge problem in the lives of the people who are on that show, as most of them can't walk more than a few steps.
Once you stand up, you feel all the weight on your legs. I am very terrified of falling. I've gotten to where I use an office chair in the house in order to be able to maneuver where I need to go.
What kind of life is that, man? That's just sad.
Imagine having to sit down in a chair just to go the distance of about 5 or 10 steps to leave your bedroom. It gets worse.
And I bet you she's not leaving that chair. I bet you she's going to roll herself around in that damn chair.
The amount she struggles just to sit down in a car is ridiculous.
There you go. Sheesh, man. That's sad.
This is actually very common for this show. Half of My 600-Pound Life is like watching someone play a game of Oregon Trail because they're required to go to Houston to visit the doctor before he'll work with them, and they're so big that it's actually dangerous for them to travel in a car for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah, but I think it's a good thing because you really see how unmobile you are when you're forced to be mobile. And I think them having to travel to Houston to get help shows initiative, and it also shows you how far gone you are. You need to experience that to feel how far gone you are.
And in this particular episode, their car broke down and they got stuck out in the middle of the freeway in super hot weather. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part comes from the first few minutes of the episode, where Delana struggles to walk from a car to the front door.
1, 2, 3. My shoes.
Oh no.
It was gonna happen.
Oh
Can you crawl?
No, my knees hurt.
Green County 911.
We need an ambulance. My daughter has fallen.
And you really got to think about this. There is no such thing as big boned. That person has a normal skeleton underneath all that fat. There's no such thing as big bone. So as you look at my skeleton, that's all that person has to support their weight. You 400 pounds, like that's insane to me. Walking up the stairs would be an extreme sport.
Can't get her up.
1, 2, 3. Damn it, 2 more steps. Ow! Ow!
Sad.
Oh my God, my knee.
She couldn't do it. Not only could she not walk up the stairs, not only did she have to call 911 to get back up after she fell, but they also had to destroy her porch and get 6 different people to lift her back up into the house. So when you don't correct children's eating habits and you tell them that it's healthy to be fat, you are putting them at a much higher risk of living this lifestyle when they get older.
Right.
Fortunately, Delana was one of the good episodes, and by the end of the show, she lost a pretty significant amount of weight and got her mobility back.
Great, yeah,
kind of
that's
an
good.
inspiring story because in reality, a lot of the participants on this show don't lose any weight, and I actually find those episodes incredibly depressing and difficult to watch. But the more I look at the fat acceptance stuff, the more disgusted I am with how much time they spend coping and living in delusion instead of getting to work.
I'm a fat athlete, and despite 15 years of experience and being a certified personal trainer, whenever I walk into a fitness space, everyone assumes I'm a beginner.
You're not a fat athlete. You're not Aaron Donald. You're not Aaron Donald. When I see you run a 4.540, I'll believe that you're a fat athlete. Until then, I don't believe it, bro. I don't believe it.
Needs an obese personal trainer. Like 90% of the people who hire a trainer are doing so to lose weight, and the reason they think that you're a beginner is because you look like the before photo on someone's fitness journey. Also, I found her Instagram, and not only does she have basically no examples of her workout performance, but the one time she did post a workout, you can read the description and see that she clearly has no idea how to make a person fit. Using 1-pound dumbbells and changing the exercises every workout is exactly how a beginner would teach fitness. But as for actually losing the weight and making the change, sure, I can go over a ton of different strategies to make that easier, and I have done that in many videos because fitness and weight loss are a specialty of mine. But the most important thing for any change is to stop making excuses and just get out there and do it. Plenty of people love to spend months to years consuming self-help content,
right,
followed by never making a change.
Right, and all that stuff is boring. Consuming self-help content isn't doing the thing. Studying it isn't doing the thing. Coming up with a strategy isn't doing the thing. You have to do the thing to do the thing. If I were you guys, like when this was fun, losing weight and all these other things, working out, before it became about depression and your girlfriend cheating on you and you walking around the gym with your hoodie up, people would just raw dog caffeine and just get to work. That's how you need to start. You don't need to think about all these plans, blah, blah, bloop. If you want to lose weight the wrong way, you can lose 50 pounds by just cutting off your arm, right? So that's the wrong way. If you want to do it the right way, start raw dogging caffeine, get at least 10,000 steps a day, and make sure that you exercise and eat a little less, and you'll get there. This is a great video, again, by Think Before You Sleep, and this is called Why Are We Enabling This? Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special. As I hope brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.